Chop it down. Chop it down. Chop it down. You gon' chop it down. Chop it down. You gon' chop it down. Damn, set, watch him throw the ball. We gon' pick it off. You gon' let him hit the hole or you gon' cut it off. You gon' play through 4th and long or you gon' punt it off. Your defenders, heavy hitters, put your pads in. Don't be looking for the ref to throw no flags in. Keep the helmet on, keep the cleats tight. You the type to want to win by any means, right? You should look alive. This is Trap or Die.
Mual, I think you muted, baby.
And boom, there we go.
There we go.
Woo. Anyway, I'm glad I was muted because I cussed, and I don't need YouTube taking away this.
Hey, that's fine. We probably gonna do a lot of cussing today.
Yeah, I just need to make sure we get a good little 5 minutes into the show. But anyway, welcome back to another Trap or Die post game edition. Look, man, everybody frustrated. I get it. I already know. This was like it's a crazy game, and I came in here laughing because as I'm pulling up, I have like this little tab where I keep like 3 different sections of Twitter open, and on the beat writer section, Ron is quoted in his post game presser as it is a low point. And I'm gonna go ahead and start this show with our 1 sentence takeaways. Let's get these out of the way, and then we can keep it pushing. For everybody that's in the chat, if you got your 1 sentence takeaways, let's go ahead and get them going. Let us know what you all thinking. Mine's is plain and simple. I actually tweeted it. Look, bruh, here we go. Like, just when you thought that it couldn't get worse than the Bears game. ... bro. That shit. What are y'all 1 sentence takeaways from today's game, man?
First, before I give mine, I just want to laugh at AJ. AJ been cheesing since we got it. AJ wanted this result. He got it because he wanted this result. And he
said
got it
become
too.
a Ravens fan.
He got
That's
the
crazy.
result he wanted, man.
I bet he did, bro. And he was going back and forth with our good man Sean on Twitter. I seen it. I was like, bro, in the middle of the game too. Go ahead. Where we at, bro?
Go ahead, AJ. Hey, AJ, what's your 1 sentence takeaway, man?
Oh boy, I got a couple. I think the first one is U-Haul. Anyone?
Okay.
Second one is franchise quarterback who?
Dre, what's yours, bro?
Should I keep going?
For me, I just got straight up abomination. I mean, they're terrible.
Abomination.
They're terrible, bro. I mean, the Giants
bro.
can only look this good against us. I mean, we watch the Giants. We watch the NFL. We watch the Giants week in and week out. They only look good against the Commanders. Abomination. One word, not even 1 sentence.
Yeah, man. Washington falls, if I haven't done so already, to the New York Giants, man, 31-19 today. In a game where you registered 9 sacks going into the fourth quarter. Like, on its surface, and on top of that, I'm sorry, 9 sacks going into the fourth quarter, and at one point the score was only 14-12 going into the fourth quarter. So you would have thought that Washington had a chance to win. You would have thought that this would have been an ugly game that you weren't impressed with, but they found a way to make the game worse. And what's more frustrating for me isn't even the fact that Washington lost the game. I think we all were. Matter of fact, let me be clear. I would say this. So the prediction wise, me and Dre predicted Washington to win. AJ predicted Washington to lose. And I think for anybody, I want you to know that there is you should not blame yourself. You should not blame anybody in your circle that's a fan of the Washington Commanders for believing that Washington was going to work the Giants today. Like, that is not your fault for thinking like that. That is not anybody's fault for having an expectation for any team that went up against the New York Giants this year that showed some semblance of good on either side of the football. Washington was good enough on the offensive side of the football. And yet again, they go up against the New York Giants and Wink Martindale, who flat out embarrasses them. It doesn't matter who the offensive coordinator is. It doesn't matter who their talent is on offense. Wink Martindale is going to show up and show out. It don't matter who their quarterback is. Tommy DeVito, bro. Y'all, I've never, and I can say this because I never said it throughout the week. Y'all clown this man for living with his mother. Who cares if he lives with his mother? That makes no difference in how he's going to win the game or lose the game for the New York Giants, bro. He comes into your house, and on top of that, 84 yards last week. Y'all made a big deal about that, but guess what? The anomaly in the NFL is a quarterback throwing for 84 yards. That's not going to happen again. And you think that Danny DeVito is going to come out in the second week in a row and do something like that? He diced your ass up. He was on pace for 400 yards after the first half, bro. So I just think from my whole viewpoint and my frustration, like I said, it wasn't the fact that people that Washington lost. Like, you should have had all the expectations in the world that Washington was going to handle business against this version of the New York Giants, bro. And they came out and they found a way to lose. Like, if just so off the strength, because you're looking at this offense and you're looking at the fact that if you're saying if they can stop turning the ball over, 2 turnovers in the first 6 plays, and you're like, if they can stop turning the ball over, they can get something here. And not even was it just the offense, bro. It was special teams too. Like, they just kept finding ways to give the ball back to New York, give them confidence, let them know that they can stay in, they can win this game so long as they keep creating turnovers and the momentum build it up, bro. It was one of the, like I said, if you thought that it couldn't get worse than Chicago, this game was only a 12-point defeat, and it was worse than Chicago. It was worse than Chicago. Overall thoughts on where y'all at with this game? I just had to get that off my chest. Y'all got the floor.
Yeah, I mean, if you had both of these teams' record and had to pick which one based off of just pure performance of the game overall, who has a 2-8 record, you would have picked Washington Commanders. They looked like one of the worst teams in the NFL. They couldn't do anything offensively. They couldn't stop Danny DeVito. Yeah, I don't really care. He live at home.
I thought he was about to get that 3rd and long at the end. I thought he was about to get that.
I thought he was about to get it too. Like, the man had 87 yards for a whole game last week. And before the first half even ended, I think he had like 145 and 2 touchdowns. Like, I mean, overall, it's a poor game, like, from both sides of the ball. Defensively, they couldn't stop wide receivers. Teams are attacking Cam Curl and Jamin Davis left and right with their running backs, especially Jamin Davis. Like, he gets put on a wheel route every, like, almost 3-4 times in a game.
So after that Patriots game, he was gonna get dotted up, bro.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was a beautiful pass by DeVito to Saquon. Hell of a play. Defensively, you're not getting no pass rush or anything. A lot of those sacks really came from DeVito climbing the pocket. And, yeah, it wasn't real, like, pressure per se. Like, I thought they were going to dial it up a bit more on DeVito because of his inexperience and the lack of weapons on the outside that the Giants had, but they didn't really do that. Then on the offensive side, it's like we know what Charles Leno struggles with. He struggles with lengthy, athletic defensive ends. So it's not surprising that Thibodeau went off, but the Giants also had a different defensive approach. They still came after Sam Howell, but not in the same ways that they did in the first matchup. This time was a lot of stunts. They were stunning more with their D tackles going up against not their D tackles, but their defensive ends kind of looping into the center and the guard matchups.
Yeah.
To confuse them, and that was something that they were struggling. Chris Paul and Larson, they were struggling with that all day. Dexter Lawrence is beating his guy no matter what. And then with Sam Howell, he just Yeah, man. Like, he finished the day with 3 interceptions, but it really should have been 4. Pinnock shouldn't have dropped that pick. I don't know what happened on that last interception. Like, he literally jumped in the pocket to throw the ball. And it's like, are you throwing it away or are you trying to complete this pass? Because
I was just looking at that play again.
Trying to complete the pass is it's just about the same. It's just about the same poor decision making as throwing that ball inbound. I really don't know.
It looked like on the replay, like he was trying to. I think that was Logan Thomas. I still can't tell. It looked like it was Logan. Yeah, I think he was trying to throw it to his outside shoulder toward the sideline. If that makes sense. Like that's what he was trying to do.
But I mean, when you jump up in the pocket and throw the ball, that's kind of like that's footwork. Like that's the issue with the footwork. Either way, man, somebody got to go. Like somebody has to go. Like either it has to be Ron and Jack Del Rio, or Jack Del Rio has to go. Somebody needs to be gone. But I don't know if you guys seen my text this morning as I was driving home. I think about like 2 a.m.
Oh yeah, the Brian Robinson Jones.
Yeah, one of my I mean, I already predicted they was gonna lose the game, but this morning around like 2 a.m. it further convinced me that a lot of the guys on the team were overlooking the situation. So one of my friends that is a club promoter and owner, he posted a flyer of Brian Robinson hosting Sunday night. So typically in the NFL, guys will host after they win games or if it's their birthday or something. So I was like, I'm not going to say nothing publicly really on it. Maybe it's his birthday. Man, that man's birthday is in March. So,
so you Googled that shit, did you?
They said it was B-Rob birthday?
No, he thought it was B-Rob.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I thought it was his birthday. Like, it's cool to go hang out and whatever. Like, you don't have to host. To put your name on a flyer means that you automatically think you winning. Like, you're going to be in good spirits. Like, you and your squad, and that joint say Brian Robertson and the Commanders host tonight at blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to say the venue name. I'm just like, dog, they really overlooking these Giants. Like, they thinking this shit's sweet. Like, and that's not the case. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Dre, what you on?
Oh, no, my camera was on my laptop. Said my camera messed up. But, yeah, I mean, overall, man, just a poor game. I feel bad for the people that spend money on this team. I don't know how you guys commit to going to these games, sitting in traffic, going to come back home, to pay for parking, to pay for concessions. I know you guys are running up a hell of a tab drinking because, boy, I know y'all getting drunk at these games because this is not a fun product to watch. Like, you can't keep doing this over and over. And then to hear comments like what Mual mentioned, Ron Rivera has said, it's a low point. It's a low point. It's like, what? Bruh, it's been a low point. As soon as you got hired, it was a low point. But there's been so many times during the duration of your tenureship, we could have referenced it's a low point. And this is now do or die. Like, new ownership needs to show us if they're going to make an improvement. Not necessarily an improvement, but they got to show the fan base that they're going to fire someone.
You know, and I don't want to go too much into, you know, what AJ was talking about with Brian Robinson hosting a party tonight. I mean, you know, you got a point there. But to me, it brings up the larger issue. What we kind of talk about with this regime is how prepared do they have these players going into games? I mean, it's not even just this game, but just on a week-to-week basis, how prepared are these guys going in? I mean, if they're out there ready to throw parties and all of that, it just seems to me like the focus is just not there on just, you know, this is the game in front of us. We have to win this game. I can go out and, you know, maybe I could talk to a club promoter after 4 p.m. and throw a party, whatever the case may be. But that's just going to show you where we are at with this team. It's why I've been telling you all for weeks I'm in draft mode, because we know what the Ron Rivera regime is capable of at this point. You know, there's no more hoping and praying and wishing something different. Like, oh, yeah, they're going to be this team that's going to be at the top of the conference or the top of the division. That's not the Ron Rivera Commanders. The Ron Rivera Commanders are in the hunt. That's all they really strive for, to be, is just in the hunt for the playoffs. I mean, well, that's all they're pretty much capable of under this regime. It's just being in the hunt. They're never really that team that's, shown that they can be at the top of the division or one of the top of the conference type of teams. They're just one of those teams that's going to medal somewhere in the middle. And it all comes back to kind of the lack of preparation. The Giants weekly against any other NFL team, as we talked about. Now, Mual, you mentioned that, Tommy DeVito, his living situation doesn't matter, with his parents. It actually does matter. It matters because you can actually use that for context when he plays bad against other teams, because he's going to play bad against other teams. So when he's playing bad against other teams, you can say, well, he lives with his parents. He's not really supposed to be the guy. But it doesn't matter against us. That's who it doesn't matter against. It does not matter against the Commanders. There was a guy once before. I love bringing back the old stuff. He played for the Carolina Panthers. I think his name was Michael Bates. Now, they talked about this guy bagging groceries the same week he got signed by Carolina, and he comes and runs a punt return for a touchdown against the Commanders in the week. So that it doesn't matter against us, because what I'm saying, that's just what happens against us. But Ron Rivera, his teams just aren't prepared. And the Giants have had his number pretty much since he's coached us. He cannot figure out the Giants, no matter who's coaching them, who's playing quarterback for him. It just doesn't matter. The only time he seemed like he had the Giants figured out was when Jake Fromm was starting quarterback for the Giants. But even then, Jake Fromm could probably beat this team today. It just doesn't matter, because they don't seem like they're focused, or they don't seem like they come out with this urgency to win. And that was just noted by the offense coming out, just having sloppy turnovers starting the game. I think the first two possessions, you're just turning the ball over carelessly and sloppy. Now, no one, usually Commanders fans have a tendency on a week-to-week basis. They like to absolve someone and be like, oh, well, it wasn't this person, it was this person. You can't do that this week. You can't absolve Sam Howell. You can't absolve Howell Bieniemy. You can't absolve anybody on that offense. We're done absolving anybody on the defense. We're done absolving Jack Del Rio. But but we're talking about the offense. You can't absolve anybody on that end of the ball today. They were awful. Everyone was bad today. Anything they did was trying to catch up to the Giants. Come on, this is the Giants. The Giants get embarrassed weekly. At one point in this game, we were stuck on 3 points, whereas we scored 7 points against them last time we played them. We pretty much had 10 points against the Giants. We end up with 19 today. 19. Yeah. So we've scored 26 points against the Giants all year. Cowboys scored 89 points against the Giants, in 2 games. So that just goes to show you, we're just not prepared. And that's why I'm with AJ on this whole thing about heads have to roll. Something has to happen. While it won't matter because the team sucks anyway, but you have to show a pulse. And I don't care that it's a short week, because who are they prepared to play regardless, whether it's a short week, long week, bye week? They don't come out prepared against anyone. So I don't care.
But Dre, here's the thing: the schedule gets harder. Like, you played Dallas in a short week on Thanksgiving, national TV, and then the following week you played the Miami Dolphins. The schedule, the embarrassment is only going to grow.
The Giants were supposed to be that win. They were supposed to be that win on the schedule.
It was supposed to be the one. So the way the nature of the last 3 games were going, it was supposed to be that one where it's everything looks like it's coming together for the offensive side of the football, at least. And they and then the defense catches a break against the Giants, because the Giants' offense is terrible. Think about this, bro. So Grant Paulson tweeted this, so he made this easier for me. The 2023 New York Giants, ladies and gentlemen, when not playing the Commanders, 1-8, outscored by 155 points. When playing the Washington Commanders, 2-0, outscored Washington by 19 points. Bro, let's add to some other things into this thing. When I mentioned earlier about how the offense is looking, you're saying if they can just establish some drives and get their feet underneath of them, you're talking about an offense that can really do some damage against the Giants. Well, you had an offense that had 400 yards, right? Over 100 yards of rushing on the day, 174 exactly. Only 1 penalty. Went 2 for 3 in the red zone in terms of touchdowns. And you lose to a team who was sacked 9 times by their quarterback. I'm not even lying to you. I need to look this up. What's the most sacks that a quarterback in the NFL history has suffered and won a football game? Because I don't think 9 is Matter of fact, I'm about to look at this like in 2 seconds because I don't think there is no quarterback, and I may be tripping, and it's for sure a small few. I need to know who that is, but like even just seeing those numbers and just processing this, you just don't expect a team like watching. You don't expect a team who had the performance at least offensively to look the way they did against the Giants. And this kind of brings me back to the post that I have on the channel. For those that's listening on the audio side, Off to Another World said he's beginning to jump ship on Sam Howell. And I want to transition this to him, and then we can move around as well. It wasn't the best day from Sam. Each of those interceptions were like what you just didn't know what he was really doing. Like even when I mentioned the last one, it looked like what he was doing was trying to give Logan Thomas an angle towards the sideline. I still can't say for certain what he was trying to do. Like every interception was bad. But then you have moments like just where you're seeing them be able to move the ball down the field and him making some plays to try to keep Washington in it. Off to Another World, I think that's the main reason why I said this week. I don't know if it was Tuesday or Thursday. I don't remember. But you look at this team and you can't sit here and start making declarations after a 3-game stint where the offense and Sam Howell in particular looked really, really good from a consistency standpoint, right? And even with that message, right? Jumping ship on Sam, you ain't no what we doing that after this game for? Like that's the reason why you waited out. You see how this thing goes, and for them to look like this after the performance that they had in New Jersey a few weeks ago, this is something that raised your eyes and like, bro, what's up with two things? What's up with Bieniemy and what's up with Howell when we talk about the offensive side of football? It makes you start to ask those questions, but that's the nature of like these last 6 games now. Like you always were supposed to wait to see how this thing folds. Like turns out. Like this is something that you have to keep an eye out for. Like these type of performances, bro. And for me, looking at how Howell performed, I don't know. Like it's hard to get past the fact that everybody just wasn't inspired. Like Chris Rodriguez, bro, had a solid game and then he fumbles in the red, like in plus territory. Brian Robinson, second to last drive. Like he has a hell of a game, and then he damn near cost Washington a chance to come back, even though they should have never been in that position to begin with. But he almost blows a chance for Washington to come back. Byron Pringle, solid all season. Fumbles on a goddamn kick return, and out of the half when you have momentum going into that third quarter. I don't know. It's hard to really even evaluate every single thing from a house. I mean, and then we talk about the offensive line, like, bro, like missed stunts. You had some drop passes. Logan Thomas, I didn't even mention that. He fumbles on the first drive. Like it's just so much that went wrong. It's like you can't even sit here and say it's one person's fault. And like even with at the point in which before he threw that last interception, you're talking about a person who like they're behind the 8 ball again before you even have a chance to make like it's always the case something with this team. And granted, let's acknowledge the fact that the offense you get 9 sacks, bro. You get 5 in the first quarter. You're talking about a team who's still in it. Like they only scored 7. They only scored 14 in the first half. Like that's a normal score. That's a normal flow of a game. And you're talking about an offense who's making things look like they're in high school. Like it's like how can't you establish anything or where's your intensity at or where's your awareness? Like AJ mentioned. I mean, I saw some people in the chat. I just think the main thing when you look at this offense, bro, Sam Howell had a bad game, bro. And it is problematic to the standpoint of understanding like his trajectory or knowing what that looks like. But at the same time, bro, like I don't think you can afford any of these type of games if you're Eric Bieniemy or if you're Sam Howell. And for it to be a week or a few days before the Dallas stretch, the Dallas, San Fran, Miami, and Dallas twice, like before it happens, before that stretch, bro, that is where you start having those bigger questions coming, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, Ma, I definitely agree. I mean, this is what we've been talking about, when people were kind of even not to kind of just put this all on Sam Howell, But, when we were having these discussions about Sam Howell, people were telling me we have to be convinced right now. Like, we have to know right now he's the guy. Like, people were convinced this is it. But I'm like, let's let the season play out. Because, again, as you stated, Mual, I am not off of Sam Howell after today. Like, I'm not going to sit up here and after today and say Sam Howell's garbage. He can't play. But these are the type of you have to evaluate the season as a whole. He may have another one of these games this season. He'll probably have a couple of more good games this season. But you want to sit back after the season and look at his season, and not just him, Eric Bieniemy as well. You want to look at these guys' season as a collective unit, as a whole. How did they perform as a whole throughout the season? And do I feel good about this? You can't do this after one game. Like, after 2 games, you can't just say, oh, he's a franchise quarterback because he played 2 good games. But you also can't come out and say he's just straight garbage because he had a bad game, because quarterbacks have bad games. So you just want to have the evaluation. It just sucks because, yes, he's played really good in 2 games against the Eagles this year. In Eric Bieniemy, and they are a tandem. Everything that happens, like, if one looks good, the other looks good. It's hard for one to look good without the other between Sam and Eric. Both of them had their best performances against the Eagles. And then both of them have also had pretty much their worst performances against the Giants. So that's inconsistency right there. You want to see the consistency level pick up, for these guys. But again, it's not just all on them. It's everything on the offense. You're wondering why Terry is not having the season that Terry normally would have. I think this may be one of Terry's worst seasons since being in the NFL. Jahan Dotson's in a sophomore slump this year in a sense. I mean, yeah, he's had 4 touchdowns, but we've seen uncharacteristic drops by Jahan. He's disappeared in games. We haven't heard his name called in a few games. Even today, you didn't really hear his name called much until late in the game. The running game is, it's iffy. I mean, I thought they actually had their best day on the ground because they were consistent with it today, but you're turning the ball over. I mean, like you said, Chris Rodriguez putting the ball on the ground. I don't know what the final number on the turnovers were today. I think it was 5 or 6.
6.
But yeah, 6 turnovers. But you can't win a game like that. As you mentioned, the Giants go out, they get sacked 9 times. You typically don't win games when you get sacked 9 times, but you will win games when the other team turns the ball over 6 times. So, these type of games, you have to measure that with the good games as well. These are the games you're going to look at after the season and as a whole, as a collective, and say, what do we see out of these guys? Because as of right now, we still don't know. I mean, because like I said, he just had Sam and Eric just had a couple of good games in a row. And then now you just have the stinker against the Giants. And now you have the Dolphins and the Cowboys and all of these teams coming. I mean, you still also have to play the 49ers this season. So now you have a very small window for these guys to kind of look good in. Because now you want to start really putting your best stuff out, because one thing about the NFL is the NFL has a "what have you done for me lately" memory. Like, if Sam Howell and Eric Bieniemy, they come out and they don't look good in these tough stretch of games that we have, people are not going to look back at those Philadelphia games or the games that he did look good in the early or the mid part of the season. They're only going to remember the games that he had that were recent. That's just how the NFL works. So it gets tougher from here. And that's why it's so disappointing and so frustrating to see them go out and lay stinkers against games that should have been kind of layups in a sense. I'm like, this game's a layup for another team. I mean, this game's a layup probably for even a bad team, but for us, this game is, not a layup. It's actually a game we're going to go in and lose. And that's just what we did.
Yeah, I mean, I think, a lot of people were screaming, yelling, crying, pleading, starting petitions, or whatever for Eric Bieniemy to run the ball. I mean, they almost ran the ball 30 times today. They gained almost 200 yards on the ground. Like, I think that Bieniemy came out with the right game plan to try his best to protect Sam Howell in these situations against Wink Martindale. Unfortunately, he still had to throw the ball some downs, and that put them, susceptible to being in a situation of the field being flipped by interceptions happening. It's just one of those situations for Bieniemy. Is like you kind of limited in a sense because of who you have to work with, whether it be from the offensive line structure to the receivers not necessarily getting open, your tight ends not the most athletic. You got a young quarterback. Sam Howell doesn't suck. Like, I've never said that he sucks. I just have never.
Let's check the archives on that, man.
I mean, yeah, we could roll through the archives. I've never said he sucks, but I don't believe he's a franchise quarterback with that dude. I think he can play in the league, not as a starter and not specifically for this team. People are going to say, why are you trying to blame him? He gets a big portion of the blame pie, same way quarterbacks get a big portion of these wins and losses for teams. Like, at the end of the day, we can't just focus on yards and all these different things. He's still getting sacked, still turning the ball over at a high clip. The offense is not productive. Defensively, there's no communication. It's just a poor team overall. And sometimes when you root for a team, you over-evaluate those players. You think that they're so great, they're so amazing. Prime example, you take Cam Curl. Everyone wants to re-sign him now, pay him whatever he wants. And what happens? That play, that third down play with Saquon, when he motioned back into the backfield, you already knew he was getting the ball. You already knew he was the primary target. Like, and you still couldn't stop that. Like, it's just poor communication, poor preparation. I didn't really get to chime back on the club thing. There's nothing wrong with the club. Don't get me wrong. Like, have your fun or whatever. But, you don't have to host a party. You can go out and celebrate or just go and release some stress. You don't have to be put on a flyer. Like, in my time of representing players, we always used to step out, whether it be win or losses, but wasn't having guys on flyers, like, especially promoting the day before the game. that's insane. Like, I just think that sometimes, depending on who they play, they don't take them as serious. And that all leads back to coaching. It's about your coach also putting in your mind that you need to be prepared. It's too many times that they come out on the field and they look like, especially on the defensive side. Offense, you don't really see it too much, like, confusion-wise, but defensively, the lack of communication within these zones, the coverages that they're supposed to run, guys' assignments, it's like it's always been there. Like, it's always been a major factor within their communication since Ron has been here and Jack Del Rio's been calling the defense. There's no way that Tommy DeVito?
Tommy DeVito.
Tommy DeVito is no reason he should have his breakout game. It's absolutely no reason.
And he won't against anyone else. That's the issue.
It's no reason that, and it's not like
I gotta make an acknowledgement too off that point, Dre. I got it. So I truly did believe it. So I'm just acknowledging that I was wrong. I thought that, the Bears, I didn't think that the Bears were any great team, but I thought that they were better than what they showed heading into the matchup with Washington. And after they whooped our ass, I thought that that was more so of an indication that it was the case that they were having bad breaks early on. Turned out that they was shit. And Washington just found a way to get their ass whooped by the Chicago Bears. I did something similar against the New York Giants. And again, I truly believed it. I said that the Giants lost to some really good teams over their before the Washington's first game with them. They lost to some really good teams heading into the Giants game or heading to the Washington game. And you're talking about a situation where things are a little bit different, where things are going to calm down for them. They're not playing against a top tier team in the Commanders, and maybe they are better if they didn't have all these injuries and things like that. And I still stand by that, but it looked like I'm wrong on that too. Like, you come in here and they haven't won a game since I think they beat us, and you get whooped again, but also you fumble and throw up on yourself. So to that point, I'm just saying, because I know AJ was still talking. I took a long time to get my point across. I'm just like, bruh, these teams suck. And you really got to believe that Washington is just at the bottom of the barrel with these guys, because there's no dancing around the fact that you're losing to these bad teams, bro. Lack of focus, coaching, ineptitude, not making sure that your players are ready, AJ, as you mentioned, and understanding that, the season is still, you're not mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. And now you're talking about a team who only has one less win than you, because you fucked around and you want BS on a Sunday at 1:00.
Hey man, like coaching matters, man. It's so many times that we try to look for guys that are top tier, or like people will look for PFF grades, all that stuff, man. Coaching matters. You got to prepare your team week in and week out. Like right now, what you're really seeing, and I keep bringing it up on here because I honestly feel like the offense is further ahead than the defense. Like if Eric Bieniemy had this operation for 4 years, they'd probably be a top 5 offense versus what Jack Del Rio has done with the defense over the span of 4 years. It's two different coaching styles and preparation and execution and preparing for all types of situations. At the end of the day, when you aren't being coached well, you're going to be put in these situations where you look lost, you look confused, and things don't go right when it's Sunday. Like that's just what happens. I mean, you know, I hope that I'm on Twitter the same time we doing the show. I'm saying things like the water isn't working.
I just saw a Dre message.
I'm saying different messages about like people referencing like Daniel Snyder, Happy Thanksgiving. I'm seeing Jay Gruden tweet about Black Monday, and it's just interesting how all these things have changed in a lot of people's opinion and how they're voicing it online. But this been the same team like all season. They haven't grown nothing at all, and it's just funny to me that now people want to speak on it. But I still will keep saying this. I don't see this team winning another game for the rest of the year. It only gets
like that now.
You got Dallas Thursday. You got Miami after that. I want to say you got the Rams, then you got the New York Jets, you got the Cowboys again and the 49ers. You're not winning another game.
I'm gonna say that they win one of the road games. I don't know which one though. That's the only place you're gonna see Sam Howell play good football.
They're gonna win a game you ain't got.
He like
no
your ass up on the road.
I mean, my thing is like even the Rams. Take the Rams matchup. Who is stopping Cooper Kupp? Like they kill inside in the passing.
It's gonna be a shootout. It'll be looking like 45-42.
But then who is stopping Aaron Donald? Nobody. So it's like there's no way they're going to win another game. I think that's why it's intriguing just to see, hey, what could Eric Bieniemy muster out of this team with just his limited time of being the voice of everyone, not just one side of the ball. I think that this was probably your last opportunity if you are a Sam Howell fan club owner. If you do subscribe to that membership of $149.99 annually, this was your last opportunity.
No, you know what? Go ahead. I was just gonna say, the speak on the coaching standpoint, coaching. I'm a firm believer, no matter across the board, professional sports or college sports, whatever, teams take on the identity of a coach. And this team has Ron's identity at this point from what we've seen and how he's, kind of acted since he's been here as Washington's coach. Like Ron on the sidelines, he looks passionless, he looks emotionless on the sidelines, and the team pretty much plays like that. And it's not even just about how your demeanor is on the sideline, it's how you prep them on a week-to-week basis, even during the week. I mean, you just don't see Ron fired up. You don't see a sense of urgency. Usually, especially in the press conferences, you kind of hear Ron always deflecting or telling you why his teams aren't as good as they are. He usually wants to find an excuse for why his teams aren't as good as they are. Like, there's no urgency in the way he talks. Like he thinks he since he's got here day one, Ron Rivera has thought he's had years and years and years and years to get this together. He never tells you I have urgency to get this together in 1 year, or I have urgency to get this together in 2 years. He told you day one, I got 5 years to get this turned around. That's a coach with no urgency. And they played like that since they played for Ron Rivera. I think about some of the best coaches or the best teams you watch, even today's game, the previous years. Like Dan Campbell is one of the best coaches in the NFL right now. And the Lions seem like they play with his identity, his passion, his sense of urgency. I think about Joe Gibbs, obviously our greatest coach in franchise history. Joe Gibbs may not have been a rah guy, a passionate guy, but Joe Gibbs was a guy that if he got in a press conference, he would talk about the damn New York Giants team. He would have talked about them like they were the early 90s Cowboys team. And that's how his team would have came out and played them. So that's just some of the things you notice that the urgency lacks with this team. They take on the identity of this coaching staff, and it's not going to get better until they're all gone.
Bruh. This man, Kayvon Thibodeau, is hilarious, dog. So, post game, Pat Leonard, who covers the New York Giants, I think this is for New York Daily News. I'm like, what is DM? New York Daily News. Here it goes. Ask Kayvon Thibodeau what it feels like when he's dominating this matchup. He said he approached Washington left tackle Charles Leno just before halftime and said, "Thank you." Leno said, "For what?" And Thibodeau said, "For the 10 sacks I'm about to get today." And then I think he ended up getting like 2 in the second half. Bro, like it's and you know what's even crazier? AJ mentioned it when he was talking at first initially about Leno's weakness, right? Like speed, athleticism, like super athleticism, he gonna struggle. And I think that like it's visible, but for Kayvon to even have the I mean, honestly, bro, just the I don't give a fuck like mentality. Like, I'm gonna talk my shit to you today, and like even pull up to him at halftime and say something like that, bro. Like, he just knew Leno was in for a long day.
I mean, who's barbecue chicken, bro. Like,
he knew
who's. That's what I'm saying, bro. You don't need, even when you go back to the conversation of quarterback, you don't need to see a whole season to know if someone's good or not. Kayvon Thibodeau has only went against Charles Leno. This is their third matchup ever. He knows that he's ass. He knows that he could dog him. He knows he can do whatever he wants to any time that they face off. He can win that matchup. There is nothing that Charles Leno can do, whether that be from a skill set standpoint or just from a physical standpoint. He knows that, this is how I'm going to make my money. I play you twice a year, and if you continue to be here playing left tackle, I'm a stat pad, and I'm going to be able to have a conversation at whatever point it is to get a new contract because I'm dogging you. And people are saying, yeah, that's the Kayvon Thibodeau that we know from Oregon. Like, he's a beast. Yeah. Like, even more, I seen your tweet. You was like, man, Kayvon Thibodeau is a dog or something like that. I might be saying it wrong.
Shit, but I said he going to the Hall of Fame alone. I tweeted that over the Commanders.
You just know who you can talk that shit to, who you can pop your shit against, and who you can dog. And that is just one of those matchups that you're going to eat. Like Dexter Lawrence could have said the same thing. They could have put Tyler Lawson at center, Ricky Stromberg, Nick Gates, whoever. They could have put whoever. He knew he was going to eat, and he was going to do his little dance. I love his sack dance, by the way. Like he was going to do his dance. And even the same thing with Saquon. He know whenever I play Washington, I'm going to go off. And that's just how it is. Washington is your get-right team. We just let Geno Smith throw for almost 400 yards last week, his career high. Like, if you want to accomplish anything in your life,
negative
Isaiah Simmons pick 6. That dude revived his career against us.
Isaiah Simmons got a pick 6 today, bro. I ain't seen him get a pick 6 since Clemson.
Exactly,
bro. If you want to accomplish anything in your life, just make sure that Washington is on your schedule, and you will make your dreams come true. They are a make-a-wish team.
Let's kind of finish with a couple things. AJ mentioned Saquon, bro. They had -1 rushing yards going into the third quarter. They finished the game with 19 carries for 91 yards. They had -1 going in 2 quarters, and they finished it with 91, bro. As you mentioned, Saquon went off for 83 yards in the second half, and 2 big runs that really set the tempo for that offensive line, and even how they changed things up front in terms of their looks that they gave Washington. Look, I know we kind of covered the conversation of like any changes. Ron Rivera mentioned post game that he's not even entertaining that conversation at the podium. But I think for Washington and for anybody, Brad, like I think that the Bears could have been. Let me rephrase what I was going to say. The Bears was a nail in Ron's coffin. Like before the season doesn't even have to end. Like it didn't matter what else Ron had going on this season. That was the firing job right there. That effort, that performance, like leaving the field and that moment, Ron's done. But then today, the only thing that's helping Ron in any changes from a staff standpoint is the fact that they have a game in 4 days or 5 days against the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving. So if you're talking about a coach who is going into a mini bye week, having his team get 40 dropped on their head, your offense is struggling to the extent in which it did against the Giants and even like that, the slow starts against some of the better teams that they played against, and even some of the inconsistent. I mean, they had slow starts against Arizona, Denver, Seattle. Outside of that one touchdown to B-Rob, like they've had plenty of slow starts. Even the Patriots game, shit, they came back against a sorry team. That's where I think the heat is really turned up. Like sometimes when we say it can't get worse, I'm the living example. Chicago, you didn't think it could get worse. It got worse against New York. Same thing with the coaching staff. You don't think that there's avenues for change. And I think that Ron Rivera is going down that avenue with the way his team is performing over the last couple of weeks. Patriots game, you're talking about a person, Quan Martin catches a pick, but guess what? It hits the receiver's hands. Like it wasn't Kendall Fuller who broke it up. It was the receiver who couldn't catch the ball and Juju. So you're talking about an opportunity where they have a chance to win the game too. And then that turns from a 2-game losing streak into like a possible 4-game losing streak going into against Dallas. So yeah, man, I'll just leave it there in terms of my overall thoughts on it. Yeah.
Even if you look at the whole season, Washington has beat nobody convincingly. Like it's all been small margins. It's probably every victory they've had has been less than 7 points.
Yeah. Yeah, Arizona 4 games, 4 points. Denver 2. Atlanta was 8. Oh, I forgot about them.
8 points.
Yeah, Atlanta was 8.
Okay.
Well, the Patriots was like 3
points. Still 1 possession. Yeah, Patriots is 3. Either way, it's all 1 possession games.
But I mean, I guess kind of going to Ron's comments. I mean, Ron saying he's not even thinking about changes. To me, that tells me one thing. If Ron comes out and says that means that Ron knows he's done after this year. I mean, we may have already kind of known that it was a foregone conclusion that he'll be gone this year, but I think he's accepted it and he's going to go down with his ship. Because if Ron felt like he had an ounce of a chance of staying around next year, this is the type of game you come out, you'll make some kind of change. I mean, even on a short week, you're probably going to say, hey, I want to show you all that I want to win or I have a pulse. So I'm going to do something drastic. But Ron's going to go down with his ship because he knows there's no chance he comes back next season at this point. Like this type of loss right here, like before this game, Ron in his head, like us fans, we knew, I don't think, this Giant, you can go out and win this Giants game. I still would have said Ron has no chance of coming back. But Ron probably in his head thinks I can come back. I still have a chance. But you lose this game, you get swept by the Giants, you're 0-4 in the division. He knows now at this point he has 0 chance. So he's going to go out with his staff. And that's just how it's going to go.
Hey, do we even really think? I think he's so arrogant that he believes that he will still be here next year. If you look at the comments he made, what was it, Friday? He was like, he attached himself to the culture and the quarterback. He's like, you guys really don't understand like what it's been like. But two things that kind of look at culture, and we found our franchise quarterback. Well,
no, but he's saying that for his own reputation, AJ.
Yeah, I know what he's doing. You're still losing, and you look unprepared. And on top of that, this person that you think is a franchise quarterback that you're trying to attach your name to get kudos.
He hasn't even proven it. Haven't even come close to proving it.
Yeah, hasn't proven it at all. and went out today, a couple days after you made these asinine comments once again. He went out and threw 3 interceptions.
Hey, no, AJ, this is the week to ask Ron Rivera some tough questions. You know why this is the week to ask him for tough questions? Because he can't use the Sam Howell deflection point. Like when he gets asked tough questions, he's like, "Oh, we found the quarterback." Now, not to say Sam Howell's
Ron,
bad.
do you still think that he's a franchise quarterback?
Yeah.
Man,
I mean, but again, that's not the
sometimes I wish I was one of those reporters in these rooms and be like,
I really do.
Answer a question, I'd be like, so you think he's still a franchise quarterback and the culture is good and you just lost to a 2-18?
You ain't even got to ask him about that. Ask him about his tenure here. Because in the past, you ask him anything outside, you don't even have to bring up Sam Howell's name to Ron Rivera. If you ask him a tough question about the team outside of Sam Howell, he goes, "Oh, but we got Sam Howell. We got a quarterback now." You can ask him anything this week because now he can't just go back to that fallback option to Sam Howell, at least for this week, because he can ride that while, Sam Howell looks good, or a game after he looks good. He can go to the Sam Howell point. But in a game where Sam Howell doesn't look good against a team that you're probably expected to beat, he can't kind of go to the Sam Howell deflection point. So that's why I say if you want to ask Ron a tough question, this week is the ask.
Hey, Dre, who are you taking with the first round pick? Because that's the only conversations we about to start having going forward.
I mean, again, I don't want to even jump on to say I'm taking a quarterback right there. It just depends on where you're picking, because I don't know where we're picking in the draft. I don't know if we're going to. But
looking like top 10 right now. We ain't winning no other game.
I will say this.
They lose the rest of the games like I'm projecting, they're going to finish the top 3.
I will say this. If we are in a position, which I doubt it, we're not going to be in a position to pick these guys, but if we are in a position to pick any of the top 2 quarterbacks in this draft, you pick them without hesitation. I mean, that's just that. I've been there, unless Sam Howell can actually, grasp this job by storm. I mean, yeah, I can go into another season with Sam Howell, but if those top 2 quarterbacks on the board, I'm taking one of those top 2 quarterbacks, and nothing has convinced me otherwise yet.
Fellas, did we leave any meat on the bone with this game? Or I feel like we didn't got everything covered, but everybody sucked. Everybody sucked. It was so bad that they forgot to turn on the hot water at the stadium.
That's
I don't
FedEx Field. FedEx Field is a dump.
Yeah.
Ain't the new ownership can do about that. Like,
no.
Yeah, bro.
Ain't a damn thing. You stuck. But I mean, they could go home and shower, before they head out to the club, right?
Yeah, they got plenty of time for that. Okay, so schedule wise, I'm glad I meant to do this at the beginning of the show. First off, I appreciate all the people that we got in here right now, man. It's appreciated for sure. If you're new to the show, man, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure that subscribe button is definitely appreciated. If you are on the audio side, you're tuning in for the first time, or you just haven't done it yet, man, we definitely appreciate the support. If you like the show, give us a little rating and review, man. It's free. Easy, take 2 seconds to do it, man. It helps us in the long run. So for sure, we definitely appreciate that. Schedule-wise, we're going to be here on Tuesday. I think we'll kind of treat this in terms of the Tuesday show. We'll kind of treat this as like the final thoughts and then the preview for the Cowboys game. And then on Friday, we will be back to do the recap. We're taking Thanksgiving off. Like, first and foremost, the way things are going and the way things have went, why the hell do anybody want to do any type of work on the Washington team when there's 3 games on? Look, if they lose against the Dallas Cowboys, you ain't got nothing to worry about. You keep drinking, you enjoy your day with your family, and you get ready for the night game. You know what I'm saying? And we'll be back on Friday. Get your turkey ducking, bro. Get your little turkey ducking, bro. And then we back on Friday to talk about the mob, bro. We're gonna talk about what happened the next day. And then the Miami game. So 2 weeks from today, no post game recap. For those who don't know, your boy finna be in Vegas for his B-Day, man. First time in Vegas. Look, if my friends report that I'm lost, bro, don't even worry about it. I'll find myself back to the Airbnb, maybe like a couple days later. Just let me wander. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna turn up in Vegas. So 2 weeks from now, no post game against
first time
Miami.
in Vegas?
First time, bro. First time, never been.
You're going next week?
No, so the weekend we play Miami. We play Miami. So that's 2 weeks. That's 2 Sundays from now. Given that we play Thursday against Dallas. So yeah. So basically, against the Dolphins game, we won't have a post game show. We'll have a game preview maybe Wednesday.
You're gonna have a good time, man. And you like to gamble. I don't gamble, but
man,
it definitely it definitely gets a little interesting in Vegas. So
I'm about to tap in. I'm about to tap in with y'all.
It's just a little cold at night. Just heads up. So
Okay.
Well, I ain't never been to Vegas before either, honestly.
Oh, you never been? Oh, damn.
I was supposed to go the 2020 draft. I had my plane ticket, everything, but that's when COVID hit and it canceled the fan thing.
Damn. Oh, so you pre-planned? You had a
yes.
Wow.
Okay. I was going to the 2020 draft in Vegas, but obviously COVID wrecked all of that. So
damn,
no Vegas.
Okay. All right. Well, we got the schedule out the way, fellas. Man, enjoy. Man, look, we got 4:00 slates. Enjoy yourself. Everybody in the chat, man. Appreciate y'all who stuck it through the entire show, man. It's been fun always catching up with everybody in the comments. We'll be back Tuesday and then be back on Friday after that. So enjoy y'all Sunday, man. We up out of here. Peace.
Yes, sir.